to the station crew. Enjoy
All
your stay.
right, and we are back with Space Station 14. On today's episode, we're going to have this is taking place a while ago, back in December, if I believe correctly, and it was one of my more interesting shifts as an antagonist. First of all, let's have our awakening. It's about 6 or 7 minutes into the shift, as we're going around doing solar panels. We get uh, 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 awoken as a sleeper agent for the syndicate. Our only goals are to escape on the escape shuttle and to help another syndicate agent, a doctor. So our first step is to make contact with this doctor and ask them what they need to do so we can help them out with that. So we head to medical. I have on me a communications key so we can talk privately at a distance and plot. However, I also found that somebody else needs to help this doctor, the chaplain, Granny Pearl. Anyway, I'm only trying to give this doctor the syndicate communications key. So I give over a toolbox, which I will usually stash a key inside. However, I did forget to stash it. It's still in my pockets. I just remember about now, I think. I forgot to stash the key inside. So we'll have to do another round of switching around the toolbox. In a bit. It's alright. So this time, it's done for real. And thankfully, because we did this twice, they should be able to notice the difference with the new item inside. So that's mission complete. We've made contact with them. They know that we're an agent, and they have a way to communicate with us. Anyway, we head to the chapel, I believe, to plot some more. So we head to the chapel to make a plan on what we need to do. I explain, or I make a test on the communications to make sure that our fellow agent needs or can understand that this is a special radio frequency. We explain how to access it. Hopefully they can, talk back. Because, it's alright. Sometimes there's new players on the server, and you gotta consider what they want to do when they get their special roles every now and then of being an antagonist. And in this kind of situation, it's even better because you get some help. Anyhow, in the end, they are gonna get a spoiler alert. They're gonna get our help target is going to get killed in some maintenance tunnel by another syndicate agent, but not before revealing to us what they need to do. We don't know that they're dead, and they don't know that we don't know. Anyway, it doesn't really matter because it's not gonna come up again. We just know that they need. Our objectives, technically, because now we've talked to them, is to steal the head of personnel's corgi meat and to kill one of the chefs, but we don't know their names. So I'm working on getting the corgi meat. How? We're going to bomb the head of personnel, and hopefully the AI as well. Anyway, I'm making a hole near the head of personnel's office and the AI. I made sure beforehand to place some high voltage wires because we're going to use a power sink. So there's wires in these walls, which I'm trying to place right now. This is literally right next to the head of personnel's office. The plan is to bomb this place, blow up the corgi, so they're dead. So they'll go over to medical, where the chaplain will be resting, to steal away the corgi to the chapel and butcher it. And that's basically the plan. So we plant a power sink, and just to be safe, we also plant a toolbox, a turret toolbox. So if anybody comes by here, they're gonna get shot. However, the turret does not go where I wanted it to go. It doesn't go in the little dark corner. It actually goes in the front of the window. So it's easy to see from the AI's perspective. But so far, it doesn't look like anybody saw that. So we take down our inflatable barriers because we made a hole. And immediately, an engineer noticed that there's a rogue power-consuming device, aka a power sink.
Attention. Enemy
So we explain it's a syndicate device. I'm trying to stretch this out. It sucks in power and explodes. Now, thankfully, only one person at a time can access a power computer like this. So if I just stay here and camp on this power computer, nobody else can access it and look at all the differences in the wiring that I've made. Usually it would be engineering's job to fix this. So I can keep an eye on who's fixing what, while I keep trying to produce more power so that it blows up faster. But the AI has noticed that there's a power sink with a turret, since it was exposed by the window. So that's the power sink deleted, and that's a failure. And that was also most of my budget. The power sink is 8 telecrystals. We already spent 2 on communications, and we spent 6 on a turret. So we only have 4 left, which means we can't try that again. So we're gonna have to get dirty. Or at least so I think. I'm thinking what I'm gonna have to do is go into the head of personnel's office, gun them down, and somehow extract with a corgi, which is not very likely to happen. However, instead we come up with another plan. Hopefully, the chaplain is going to lure away the head of personnel, and when that happens, I can bomb my way inside their office with some C4, which is a little less easy to defuse, and steal the corgi, or at least kill it. Anyway, I'm hearing the conversation of the head of personnel and the chaplain, which is a good thing because I can see that the head of personnel doesn't seem very interested in leaving their office. They have many more customers to serve, and the chaplain's request wasn't too pressing or detailed. However, I will give it some time to see if it works. I'm gonna fast forward in a bit because I think we stayed there like 5 or 6 minutes, just waiting. In the meanwhile, we prepare our C4s. Anyhow, let's fast forward for a bit. I'll be messing with my C4s. I'll be getting 2 eventually. One of them is going to be set on a 5-minute timer, which is going to come in handy in a bit. And the other one on a 10-second timer, which is the usual timer people put it. You can't detonate C4s immediately, at least not usually. You can either have the minimum timer of 10 seconds, or other increments. So, my master play is, I'm gonna put 1 C4 at 5 minutes. So, for like a couple of, for a couple of seconds, longer than usual, it's gonna be beeping. So people might panic for the first 10 seconds, thinking the C4 is gonna explode, but when it doesn't explode, and it just keeps beeping, they might get lured into a false sense of security. And then the second C4, the one with 10 seconds, is gonna get covered by the first C4, who's still beeping. They're gonna be both beeping. The one's gonna explode and hopefully space the office and kill the dog. And we can just hang around watching the 5-minute C4 while everybody else panics. And try and extract the corgi in the meanwhile. Anyway, we fast-forwarded by a bit. That was like a 10 times fast-forward. So I decided it's time to act. I make sure that this is the 5-minute C4. And activate it in front of the window again, that people have already checked. So he's gonna get found. People hear the beeping, but it's not blowing up. So I position myself near this head of personnel's office. We were somewhat witnessed, but not by anybody who cared. I get hit by the turret from the AI core. Has blown up. Thankfully, because this place is spaced, people can't really stay here. They have to go and get a spacesuit, which gives us a small window of opportunity to steal the dog. The champion tries to get in here, but they get shocked by the shocked grill, which gives me an excuse to help them. And then I can just stick around, try and do some other distracting crimes that are unrelated, or repair the area. Anyway, the captain has their suit and they get imprisoned in the little C4 hole. Okay, that's all done. I'm trying to think of some minor crimes I can do to like cover for the missing corgi. And also I steal the head of personnel's ID, so I can just leave this place and have more accesses, which won't come in handy because we pretty much won't be doing anything after this. Anyway, why don't we just hang around and see what happens with this C4? As people are just waiting for it to explode. We can't just wait around. Anyway, because I made a temporary wall, it's pretty easy to get in here. A robot starts to take the C4 and leaves to get exploded by somewhere random. And just at the same time, for whatever reason, the Tesla has gotten loose, which is a station-ending event. Hopefully, since we're an engineer and we have insulated gloves, we probably won't be affected too much. Anyway, there's a Tesla. We want our helper, doctor to not die, so I try and secure some equipment to survive, namely insulated gloves. So it is a bit difficult because without any power in this area, the vendor for insulated gloves is out of the count. But in these engineering lockers, we can steal some of the other people's gloves. So we head to the chapel, or the dog is getting butchered. Also, thankfully, even without power, syndicate communications still work because they don't need any servers or anything, so that's neat. Anyway, we head to the chapel, and the corgi drops 2 pieces of meat, so we each get a piece. So with this piece of meat secured, that's pretty much our objectives complete. We also need to kill a chef, but hopefully that died inside of the Tesla or any of the other dangerous things happening on stations. So I will be keeping an eye out for any potential chefs, and if I can murder them to death permanently. So we head out, just waiting for evacuations, pretty much. I think I went to security to loot the place for a gun, but all I found was this syndicate toolbox. Actually, one of the chefs has survived. Who could that pizza? Though at this point I don't have much to do anything. I would have to kill them and toss the body out into space in 30 seconds. When I see that one of the fellow syndicate agents, who's being detained by a non-security officer, is choking to death. So it's time to beat him up. Since we get to have plausible deniability. Anyway, evacuations departs. We now have a minute and a half to do whatever it is that we do. So, they get beaten off, pretty much. And we have some medical item. Hopefully help them to get back on their feet. And uncuffed. While I look around to see if there's any possibilities or chance for me to get a gun or an explosive to kill the chef with. The answer is going to be no. But that's our evacuation. Also, I look for the doctor that we were supposed to make contact with, since I still have a piece of corgi meat that they need. Anyhow, I can spot that there's 3 or 4 security members inside this bridge, so I try and smoke him in there, so they don't get involved in anything on the evacuation shuttle. At this point, there's not much we can do, so we just enjoy some pizza. And so ends our round. Who knew that a 5-minute C4 would be more useful than a whole turret and a power sink? Anyhow, hopefully you guys like this episode of stuff. And I'll see you guys next time Okay, bye, okay, bye, okay, bye, 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 bye.